Welcome, everybody. This is Snack Time Episode 2, and today we are eating Canadian snacks as eaten by Canadians. We've worn our plaid lumberjack shirts for the occasion. I am Jim Ferguson, and I'm joined today by Rob Dundas.
Where's my money?
And Tiffany Ferguson.
Hello. I didn't get the plaid memo, so.
I mean, you're Canadian.
Okay.
Did you need them?
Am I? Who knows anymore?
So today we've got snacks that are found primarily in Canada and not available in other parts of the world. There's variations of some of them in other parts of the world, but for the most part, these are specifically Canadian snacks. With that in mind, they were easy to find this time, right? We just go to any store and buy some things that are available pretty much everywhere. They're going to get progressively harder as we try things from other countries. That being said, we have a pop quiz that we're going to be doing.
Well, Canadian pop quiz. I have 3 questions again, and this time you're both going to answer, and whoever's closest will win. Price is Right styles. So first question. In the mid-1970s, Hostess decided to expand its lineup and introduce 3 new chip flavors. What were they? And these are not flavors that currently exist. They bombed hard.
Yeah, they're fruit-flavored ones.
Rob, you go first.
I think there's fruit-flavored ones, and all right, well, I'll stick with the fruit. Strawberry, apple, and pear.
Strawberry, apple, and pear chips. All right, and Jim?
This was the 70s, you say?
1970s, yeah.
Late 70s?
Mid.
Mid-70s. These are mid-70s Canadian flavors. I'm going to go with maple syrup.
Ooh.
I'm going to
That
go
actually
with...
sounds pretty fire, though.
So clearly that's not one of them.
No. You don't know.
I'm going to go with back bacon.
Get out of my mind, Jim.
I feel like poutine wasn't a thing in the 70s. So I'm going to go with, I mean, I know it existed, but I don't think it has like the national, like, I don't think it was something you got all across Canada at like McDonald's and stuff like you do now, right? Back in the 70s.
Piss off the French Canadians with saying that.
I'm saying the French Canadians had poutine, but it hadn't expanded yet. For my third flavor, so I'm gonna say, I'm gonna go with onion and garlic.
Onion and garlic. Okay.
That one's come and gone a bunch of times, but I don't think it's available right now. So.
Yeah, yours all sound the most delicious for sure. But Rob was right, mostly. They were fruit-flavored chips that Hostess introduced: orange, cherry, and grape. They were a huge failure, and they disappeared a few months later.
I mean, I would be on board with maybe trying the orange and the cherry, but grape-flavored chips, whatever reason, that really sounds gross.
Grape and potato.
It's got to be things that go with potato, like.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Savory.
Canadian back bacon chips, though. I'm all.
But the maple syrup, I think, still sounds good.
That would be tasty.
Like back bacon with a tint of maple syrup.
Yeah.
Like
it
maple
has to be
bacon.
mixed with something savory.
Yeah, you get the saltiness of bacon. Maple bacon chips. I mean, you can get bacon now, right? There's cheddar and bacon.
Chips are already salty.
Yeah, but that's like we have all these crazy flavors now that back then they had like just some. They were a lot more basic, right? Back then. Back in the 70s.
I don't know. Grape flavored chip sounds pretty crazy to me.
All right, so what? That's half a point for Rob, or what?
That's a full point for Rob because he was on the money with fruit chips.
That's okay, fine.
Hey, you don't make the rules. I don't know who makes the rules.
Challenge the quiz master.
Thank you. Question number 2. What year was the all-dressed chip flavor believed to have been introduced?
We're just taking a wild stab at it?
You're just going to take...
I'm going to go 1996.
1996. Okay, and Rob?
I'm going to go way the other way. I'm going to say 1964.
Rob wins that one as well. Rob's already won the quiz because, again, it's only 3 questions. The next answers were 3 points, okay?
Well, hold on.
So Rob has 2 points, you have 0. Yum Yum, a Quebec-based company, created a variety of the all-dressed chip flavor in 1978, and that's believed to be the first all-dressed chip flavor. Because all-dressed is like a mix of flavors, right?
Yeah, I have a question. So I won the first 2, technically won the whole challenge, but the third one's going to be worth 3 points, so then if Jim gets it, then he wins it all.
You are very astute, Rob.
Challenge quiz master.
I'm sorry. But you're on a roll, so okay.
Also, I would be pissed if I was the guy that invented Yum Yum all dressed. John C. Yum Yum.
It's the C.
Guy, like that guy's
middle initials what threw me off. That was
the middle initials for the middle initials for Chip.
I was good. Thank God it's Chip.
John Chip Yum Yum. Okay, third question. Are you ready?
Mhm.
3 points. All the marbles. How many years ago was Crispy Crunch developed? And again, whoever's
So
closest.
the
wins.
number of years.
The number of years. How many years ago? Rob,
Oh man, what? Oh shit!
you're gonna go first for this one.
Gotta do some horrible basic math here.
And it's the closest.
The closest to it.
Okay.
Crispy Crunch.
I
60.
think it was invented 65 years ago. The Crispy Crunch candy bar.
Hey, Jim.
I'm gonna sandbag this and say 66 years ago.
You son of a bitch.
6 years ago. All right, final answers.
Yeah, final answers.
All right, drum roll.
There you go.
The answer is 91 years ago, 1930s. So Jim has won the Canadian Snack Pop Quiz.
By cheating, I would say. By unhonorable, morally
said
questionable tactics. I know
That
what she said.
Price is
goddammit.
Right, rules applied.
Well, I was trying to figure that out.
The Canadian one with a loophole here. Yeah,
Good
it's
job,
a
Jim.
long time ago.
I would have just so you know before sandbagging, I was gonna say like 100 years. I was thinking it was something that was probably like in the 1920s or 1930s. Because all
Really?
the other chocolate bars I've been looking at for like doing this are all like from 1928, 1934. Like for some reason, the Great Depression was like a time for creative snack foods. I don't know what that's about. I'm sure there's probably a reason for it, but there was a lot of snack foods that were invented in the 30s, like a lot. It's crazy.
And they all had cocaine.
And they all had cocaine. They all made you feel real good. Oh man, if I could go back to any time, it would be the Great Depression.
I think maybe I'll come out right after that. Funny note was it compared to the Crispy Crunch, and the American version is the Butterfinger, and everybody asked if they're the same candy bar because Crispy Crunch took off here but never took off in the Americans. They're almost identical for the make and everything else. The only difference is, for most people say, is the Crispy Crunch has a savory, salty hint to it, which is so good, and the Butterfinger is just all sugar. You get no savory, no salty hit to it. And that's why the Crispy Crunch is better in every way than the Butterfinger.
Butterfinger tastes way more peanut buttery to me.
Mm.
I love the Butterfinger. But if you guys had it recently, they changed the chocolate. And I feel like it's not as good.
Butterfinger or Crispy Crunch?
Butterfinger.
Mm.
No.
I've not had Butterfinger in a long time, but there was a while you could get Butterfingers in Canada.
You still can, just
No,
they're
I
not
never
as
see 'em.
easily.
Yeah.
I have to go to like a specific store for my Butterfingers. My Butterfinger dealer. Okay, I'm gonna go first because I don't have any facts about my chips.
Okay.
So it's gonna be short. Can you read that? Ketchup,
Yeah,
please.
I read it
Ketchup.
perfectly.
Everybody knows ketchup chips are a Canadian chip. I don't know why. Americans are weird about it. And then I think like Pringles made ketchup chips for a while, but
Ketchup chip
I think
Pringles
they're
are
still
they're no good. I've had them. They're not as good.
what's
don't
your
know.
best brand of ketchup chips? Because I think it's Old Dutch,
Best
but I got
brand of
Lay's.
ketchup. Lay's are pretty good. I would agree that Old Dutch, like the original, like the...
It would come with like 2 clear bags in a box.
Yeah, what are they called? As riffled chips? Or like... Is that the right word for it?
You're
Like
thinking
the
of
potato
think
chips
so.
that are like
you're
this.
thinking of Ruffles, but that was you could get non-ruffled chips in the Old Dutch boxes.
Yeah, so those I think were the better ketchup chips that I've had.
The boxes of chips that came in a box with the two, there used to be a clear like bag.
Yeah,
Now it's
yeah,
like a aluminum foil, like metallic looking bag that seals in the freshness better. If you could even find the boxes anymore, which are hard to find. But those were so good, those chips, because you had like they were like the same volume, but they were like half the size servings. So when you opened it, you didn't have to finish the whole thing. You could like have half, and then the rest would stay fresh. And they had a flavor from throwing back to the quiz, onion and garlic. If you've ever had onion and garlic Old Dutch chips in the box, they're so good. And I come across them like once a decade now somewhere. And if I see them, I gotta grab like 2 or 3 boxes because you never see them, you never find them. But they're so good.
I grew up with the fire department, and that's all they had. They had the boxes, and then the boxes of the onion and garlic, the ketchup, the standard one, and then in the fridge, as a kid in the fire department growing up there, they had the dips, and they had like the big dips for all those chips, and there was like the herb and garlic that had all the dips. So there was like 8 dips and bags of chips. It's like, no wonder firefighters. And they had an on-tap beer fridge there, which I now own, by the way. So like, no wonder they were some of them were quite overweight. free beer and all the chips and a pop machine too. They had a
That's
pop
awesome.
machine, a beer, a keg, and chips.
You know, interesting fact: the number one killer of firefighters is not smoke or cancer or fire. It
Heart
is
Obesity.
heart attack.
Oh, old Dutch.
I was
Old
gonna
Dutch
say I was gonna
chips.
say potato chips. Yeah,
Cholesterol is the number one killer.
yeah, high cholesterol. Exactly. That's crazy.
Okay.
Oh,
Anyway,
so box
these are
chips,
delicious.
Old
What?
Dutch. That's what I'm saying is Old Dutch is
Yeah,
better. That's my favorite.
No, it's true. And it's nostalgic because anytime I go back to my cousins in Saskatchewan in the 90s, we would always have like the boxes of Old Dutch chips every time we watched a movie. So I think that's why I like ketchup chips. It's not like my first, second, or third choice of chip when I go to the store, but like every so often I have to have them. So I already had this bag in my cupboard because I was like, I need to eat some ketchup chips.
All right.
Yeah, that's it. They're so
Sorry.
good.
Are you gonna
10 out of 10.
Eat it and describe it, or?
No, it's ketchup.
And it's a chip, and then there's little
But
less.
it-
The
But it tastes nothing like
description needed.
actual like ketchup that you would pour
It
from a
tastes nothing
bottle.
like ketchup.
No,
It's like weirdly sweet, but also savory, kind of
And a little-
tangy.
a little acidic or tarty or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
They're
You get
acidic.
the tomato from it for sure, and cool.
Yeah,
Now on ketchup.
tomato
chips, like-
adjacent.
Tomato adjacent. Yeah. Okay, well, adding to kind of an interesting through line. This was the original company to your Lay's potato chips because it started off as Hostess, and it started in 1935, and they went for a little bit, and then they started doing not so well in the 80s with the flavors. So then they came up with these, or just before the 80s, they came up with the fruit flavored chips that you talked about. So your quiz actually tied in with the facts about the Hickory Sticks.
As
And
soon as you showed me the Hickory Sticks, I'm like, he's gonna know the answer to number one.
I didn't know specifically the flavors, but I knew from some reading that was it. So they went with the fruit flavors, and then those horribly failed. And then I think they went to, what did they go afterwards? Then they followed it up with sour cream and onion shortly afterwards, and those other ones disappeared, and those guys took over. And then they came in with dill pickle and ketchup, which you're eating now. And these guys were an off branch, and these were kind of like the dark horse. They didn't actually, because of hockey, they kind of went on the Canadian route, and they didn't know these were going to take off as well as they did. So these kind of turned out to be a Canadian classic. Now the company Hostess wasn't doing so well, so they rebranded as Lay's and Frito-Lay's, and now it's still, well, it might not be completely a Canadian company anymore, but apparently the wood grain design on the bag here was a big success. I don't know why. I think it looks ridiculous, but
What year were they made?
in the late 70s. So
Well, that's why.
Yeah, I know.
All, like the wood paneling in basements and stuff. Like that's what the bag makes me think of.
Wood panel station wagons.
Yeah. Hickory Sticks are the goat.
They're good. They're tasty. They're not like a normal chip taste. They almost have like a hint of, I don't know if smoky is the right word, but something different.
Oh yeah,
They're not bad.
The consistency of them is not the same as a chip either, right? They're crunchier and thicker
Yeah.
than a potato chip. They're still made with like mostly potato, right?
Yeah, they are far greasier than I remember them because I'm looking at my hands and they've got quite the sheen already. I remember them. They're very salty though, but that's my random fact. Your chips, mine were the original, and yours is the next generation of the same company.
What are you giving the Hickory Sticks?
I think you got to go for 10 out of 10 for these kind of chips. Like for like the chip flavor, like plain chips. I mean, you can go for just plain. Tiffany's right. They're not my first choice. So like Mrs. Vicky's chips, the plain Mrs. Vicky chips, if you want plain flavored, I think those are the best by far. And Lay's are good, but these are very, very tasty.
So you're giving them a 10 out of 10?
I'll give them 10 smoky hockey sticks out of 10.
Yeah, the hickory
Or-
flavor is, and it's very unique. There's not any
That's
other
what's
chip that tastes
different.
like it. What I would
Mhm.
say is if it was me reviewing it, which I am not, but I would say knock a point off, because whenever I eat them, I have the same thought. Why the heck aren't they in the form? I wish I could get them in the form of a full chip rather than hickory sticks, because they're like the little sticks, because they're so messy. Because you take
Would
like,
they
you know,
still be like as thick as they are, and would they be as good?
just I want
maybe-
5 sticks combined together like side by side, so that I'm not having to pick up, because when you scoop up like a 3
Hickory
fingerful,
bundle.
you're dropping them all over the place.
Yeah.
I'll knock half a point off because you're right. Because there is a chance when you take a plain chip and you want to put it in some dip or something, you can't do that with hickory sticks. That's
Can't
just
dip
not
it.
Me
happening.
too.
Yeah,
They're
but
perfect.
sometimes you want to go all gluttony and you want to put some extra dip on everything. So
Well, and it's also not a chip that you can take. You can't just eat one hickory stick at a time. It's such a small piece, so you got to
I
take
think-
a few. And if you
I
take
think what
like
we would
3
say is
fingers, it's like it's hard to hold a bundle with 3 fingers because you're dropping them everywhere.
let's be fair. Let's not call them chips because they're not. They're sticks.
They're sticks.
Yeah,
They're
I just wish I
sticks.
could get it. I wish I could get a hickory chip, like as a side knock, a
Three
spin-off.
bundles. Yeah.
Mhm.
I would,
All right.
I would crush
Write a
hickory
letter.
chips.
9.5 out of 10 smoky sticks.
All right. So I've got two things here, but I'm going to do them kind of together and quickly. The first one is Coffee Crisp makes what's the slogan? Makes a great light snack, a nice light
Sure.
snack.
I don't know.
And then I've got Canadian Smarties.
So now I gotta ask a question. Being honest here, Smarties are not an American found candy.
No,
I'll
they
get-
have Smarties, but they're rockets.
I'll
Sorry.
get into that. That's part of your
Very passionate.
let me
Wow.
let me go through my spiel here. So I'm going to start with Coffee Crisp.
Easy, Quizmaster. Easy.
Coffee Crisp was launched in the 30s by a company called Roundtree in the UK. So again, 30s, Great Depression era snack food. So it must have had cocaine in it at some point. That's not a fact. Don't fact check me. It wasn't originally a coffee flavor. That was just like a wafer cookie. And then Roundtree came to Canada in 1938. They created the coffee variation of Coffee Crisp. And then in 1988, Nestle acquired Roundtree's Canadian operations, and then in 2014 became Nestle Canada. So they were Roundtree for the longest time, and then became Nestle, and then Nestle Canada. So nowadays, these are only found in Canada. There was a petition that was done to bring them to the U.S., and it was successful. It was like a really successful petition, and it was they were launched in July of 2006, but they were removed and taken off the market in the U.S. by April of 2009. So they had a 2.5-3 year run in the States. And I guess they didn't sell like they thought they would. And yeah, there you go. So Coffee Crisp, that was way too big of a bite.
Don't get shy on us now.
So they got, I don't know if you can see that's blurring. You got chocolate on the outside, and then you've got basically layers of wafer in the middle. And then in between the wafer, there's like a chocolatey, almost like a cocoa powder. Yeah, it's like kind of like has a I don't know the word, not dampness, but it has some moisture to it. Like it has more of a milk chocolate content.
I love a good damp bar.
It has more moisture. So there's like a layer of chocolate, layer of wafer, layer of chocolate, layer of wafer, chocolate wafer. But the chocolate in the middle isn't as solid as the chocolate coating on top, and it has a very slight coffee adjacent flavor. Like it's not bitter like coffee, but it has kind of the same as has a very slight coffee bean flavor. And Coffee Crisp is one of my favorite chocolate bars, so I'm going to rate this one high. I give it a 9 out of 10. It is an amazing chocolate bar. I love Coffee Crisp. It's the first thing I steal out of my kids' Halloween candy every year.
You're like, oh, this tastes like coffee. You don't want it.
You don't want this. You're not going to like it. It's
This
your
isn't
growth.
for you.
And the
It's
other
an
thing,
adult snack.
the other thing I had to grab was just Smarties, just because they're so different in Canada compared to especially the States, but also in the rest of the world. So in the US, they've got Smarties that we call rockets, and they're actually like kind of powdery, like sugar candies. They're like colored, kind of pastel-y colored, and they basically just like fall apart in your mouth. I don't know how to describe them, but we call them rockets
chalky.
here. They're chalky.
Fantastic.
They're chalky. We call them rockets here. These, you might call them M&Ms, but we also have M&Ms, and these are not like M&Ms. They're thinner than M&Ms. The candy shell is thinner than M&Ms as well, and it's a little bit sweeter. So yeah, the outside candy shell is kind of sweet. It almost has like a chocolate powder that you used to make like hot chocolate mix taste in the chocolate. And
It's a really good description for the flavor, Smarties. Actually,
and all the different colors do taste the same. The right way to eat them is to save the red till last. That's the proper way to eat them. If you're doing it any other way, you're doing it wrong. But it's not because red tastes better. They all taste the same. They do have Smarties in Europe, actually, that were made in the UK for a long time. They recently moved production to Germany, and they look identical in size and shape to our Smarties, but the color on them is a little bit more dull, like a little bit more pastel-y than ours. Like ours have more of a bright color to them. Theirs are a little bit dull color. And apparently, I don't have any here to sample, but they taste not quite as sweet. But apparently every once in a while you get a bitter one as well, like a bad one. I read multiple reviews that say the ones that are in Europe, like if you just take a handful, you'll get like a bad one in the batch. So whatever they're doing with those ones.
is that the one that's covered in your rat urine?
I don't know what it is. Yeah, maybe bad quality control. Smarties, I give Smarties a 6 out of 10.
What are
They're
you
good.
comparing them to? Like, I mean, being honest, is there candy bars? You like Coffee Crisp and candy bar range?
I'm just
and
comparing it to
chip
snacks.
range.
As a snack,
No,
I give
no,
them a 6
I'm
out of 10.
But I mean, like other like candies like that.
I prefer M&Ms to Smarties personally, but I also prefer like I like M&Ms that have like a peanut, like peanut M&Ms or something that has like a crunch to it. So like I don't want just like plain M&M. I want like a pretzel M&M or a peanut M&M or something like that. So even M&Ms, like a normal just chocolate M&M, I would give probably like a 7 out of 10, and then I give like peanut and on like 8, 9, 10. So yeah, Canadian Smarties, I give them a 6 out of 10. American Smarties, those are rockets. You're crazy. And UK Smarties, I got to give them like way low because of the rat piss problem.
It's a rumor. I don't actually know. So
no, it's now a fact.
Don't
1 out of 10. 1 out of 10 European Smarties has rat pee on it.
Smartie roulette of Europe.
Yeah. So I will say too before we close out here that I did get a second bag of stuffing potato chips. My wife grabbed them for me because they're limited time. I cracked them open. I've only had a couple because I've just had like 3 or 4. Did get her to try them, and my wife is not a chip person. She typically does not like chips aren't the snack she goes for. She likes like chocolate and ice cream and that kind of stuff, more sweets. Where I like more like chips and savory. And she did try them and agree that they were really good. Like she's like, these actually make a really good chip. So and she hates stovetop stuffing. Actually, strangely enough, she's not a fan of stovetop stuffing, but she likes them when they taste like chips. So.
Nice.
I found that interesting. So I still stand by my endorsement of stuffing flavored kettle chips. Well, and Tiffany also mentioned that Good Mythical Morning just did an episode of Thanksgiving inspired snacks, and they had wasn't Western Family, but they had a version of stuffing flavored chips that I think won the whole thing, right?
Yeah, Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
Fall themed snacks.
So there you go.
So you did it first.
Of course I did it first. Yeah, I'm sure they watched our video for inspiration.
Yeah, we're obviously on the cutting edge.
Cutting edge of snacks. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. That was fun. We're going to be doing country hopping here. So we're going to be doing snacks from around the world. If anybody has any ideas for anything we should try next or certain places we should go, let us know in the comments. We're probably going to be doing, sticking to North America first. We'll be doing like US snacks next, and then Mexico. And then we'll be jumping around all over the place, Europe, Japan. There's a lot of places I'm looking forward to, but I also realize it'll be difficult to track those down. So we may want to start ordering a couple of weeks in advance.
Due to logistics, we're back in North America a couple weeks from now.
We are also like stuck in like a flood zone where the only access into the area we live is currently blocked. So,
Yeah, shipping is super delayed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So maybe we'll just do Canadian snacks for the next couple of months. All right. Thanks, everybody.
No delay on the good content coming to you guys.
All right. Bye-bye.